next to 3.12, the Chancellor's reports.
Before I have the president's, just so Mr. Nelson knows, it is part of the consent agenda and you have already spoken to it. So you do not have to stay until we get to that portion unless you want to speak specifically to that item. And then if so, then we will give you the opportunity. But just a point of clarification for you, this is the public comment and you've made your comment and you pointed out the item, but you can also wait until we get to the agenda, the consent agenda. But usually the consent agenda is done in bulk rather than going through each item at a time. So it's your choice how you'd like to proceed. I just wanted to give you some clarity.
Thank you, Chancellor.
So tonight, instead of President Garcia, she had some personal items that she had to take care of. I'd like to start with Berkeley City College and the Vice President of Instruction, Dr. Kuni will report for Berkeley State, followed by Dr. David Johnson for Merritt College, and then Dr. Rudy Besikof for Laney College, and last, Dr. Nathaniel Johnson III for College of Alameda. And after we hear the president's report, then I'd like for our executive director of MCPR, Mark Johnson, to make a brief presentation on behalf of the district. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Hay.
Good evening, President Napoleon-Valeries, Dr. Jackson, members of the Board of Trustees, and colleagues and community members. In addition to the written report in your board packet, I'd like to share some few remarks. First, happy International Women's Day today. Dr. Garcia sent out a message honoring Women's History Month with specific remarks acknowledging women who paved the way for others to follow, such as the first female senator elected to office, Shirley Chisholm. The BCC Women's Leadership Club held an event during College Hour today titled Women Providing Health Healing, Promoting Hope. For students, they described this theme as representing the tumultuous history and in a pride in women's history, along with the past 2 years, in which they have seen so many brave women at the pandemic's front lines fighting for health, rights, and in a better world. On March 2nd, the Students for Social Change Club hosted a virtual presentation called What's Going On in Ukraine, providing historical and political context of the conflicts for interested students. Today, BCC's President's Equity and Racial Justice Task Force kicked off its listening session with our students, and then this will go until the end of April. We'll be hearing from and learning from African-American students, Latinx students, and then AAPI and Native American students whose goals are to transfer and then or degree attainment. We'll be focusing on 3 themes: sense of belonging, institutional receptivity, retention, success, and completion. Finally, I need to share a sad news of our student passing last week. Casey Segovia joined BCC community in summer of 2018, majoring in communication studies through fall 2019 semester. After taking some time off, she returned to BCC this semester. Casey found home in the Extended Opportunity Program and Services, EOPS, PNS, finding the academic support she needed to thrive. I'd like to respectfully ask the Board of Trustees to consider closing tonight's meeting in honor of Casey Segovia. Thank you so very much for your consideration, and this concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Hay. Appreciate you. Good evening, President Napoleon-Valeries, members of the board, Chancellor, presidents, and community members. This is the report from Merritt College. On Tuesday, March 1st, we held our Day of Appreciation, which was an event where we provided breakfast in the morning and lunch in the afternoon to our students, our classified professional staff folks, our faculty, administrators, community members. And it was really satisfying to see people come out to eat and fellowship. We had nearly 150 people at each sitting. We had Trustee Handy came out and represented. Mark Johnson was there. So it was even had district representation. So that was really good. But what moved me most about the day was really the energy, the enthusiasm, the gratitude, and the joy that was on full display. And I think the event was really an excellent reminder that despite the challenges of the last 2 years, it showed that we're still connected, committed, and we're still a community. So we look forward to doing a few more of those events before the semester ends to really continue to express our gratitude for the work that we're privileged to do. Next, I also want to acknowledge March as Women's History Month, and today is International Women's Day. And in doing so, I wanted to talk a little bit about the history that led to the commemoration. In 1978, the Education Task Force of Sonoma County, right here in California, birthplace, that Commission on the Status of Women organized a week-long celebration of all the contributions of women. Couldn't get it all in a week, but they tried. Out of that, the National Women's History Project, which is now known as the National Women's History Alliance, continued to lobby every year tirelessly to lobby Congress to get the acknowledgement for Women's History Month. And let me get this right, I want to get it right, history right. And in 1987 was the year that Congress passed a resolution to formally designate the month as Women's History Month. It was signed by Ronald Reagan at that time. So even as we celebrate, I also want to acknowledge the work of the women of Merritt, the work that the women of Merritt College are doing, whether it be the leaders in our administrative ranks, the classified and academic senates, the collective bargaining units, our governance groups. We have so many amazing women who are doing great things. Even have to give a nod to the women of our district, the dynamic women on our board. It's an honor and a pleasure to serve with you. And you really do serve as an example for our students who are aspiring to higher heights. So just a little word to salute you all. I also want to share that Merritt College, along with our sister schools, we just got back from the Community College League of California, the CEO Symposium, and we represented the district quite well, in my opinion. Some of the topics that we discussed were the positive impact of potential student housing projects, the importance of crafting effective strategies for advancing DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, and how technology can be leveraged to address basic needs for students. But one of the things I found really interesting, I'm just going to say this, several individuals throughout the conference would come up and almost in hushed tones, how's everything going at Merritt? How's everything going at Peralta? And it was really edifying to be able to say quite proudly that the Merritt and the district, our train is on track and on schedule. So that was really good to be able to share that and to be able to let them know that they need to be concerned as we continue to be focused on carrying forward our momentum and achieving great things for the students in the community. So, Peralta put folks on notice while we were at the CEO Symposium. And finally, I just want to close out. I know Jennifer mentioned it earlier, but I have to give a special shout out to the 4 people from Merritt who have crossed over to the other side in terms of tenure. I know that item's coming up, but hopefully we'll cross over to the other side for tenure. And that's Rebecca Ullman in math, John Rodriguez in biology, Danae Martinez in African American Studies, and Ron Moss in COSA. So just from your president, congratulations. As soon as the paperwork is signed, sealed, and delivered, we are going to celebrate. So that's my report for the evening.
Good evening, Chancellor Jackson, President Napoli Abella Reese, members of the governing board, students, colleagues in education, and valued community members. I would like to go ahead and start my report off tonight by providing an update on our pool, specifically as it relates to our ability to begin to really open up and offer programs such as our master's swimming course. I know this was mentioned a few months ago in a board report, and in a question from a board member, and I just wanted to go ahead and provide a quick update. With the kind of returning to our campus after a couple of years and the reinitiating of equipment such as pool pumps and things like that, there have certainly been a number of issues that have come up and repairs that have been needed along the way. And what we are hopeful for at this point is to have our pool able to start hosting or being able to support our competitive swimming of our own teams within athletics beginning sometime in April. Continuing on with the extensive repairs that include a number of leaks below our pool deck and a number of things like that. The work does continue, and what we are hopeful to do is open our pool on a grander scale at the beginning of summer. So, again, when you have a big campus and things have been off for a while, the return often comes with bumps, but we're navigating them, and we look forward to opening things up, but even more as we keep going forward. Speaking of opening things up and really doing things that are great, especially today on International Women's Day and also in terms of Women's History Month, today was an awesome day on the Laney campus on the quad as we commemorated the women in trades. CTE and Employment Services teamed up to host a panel of 7 individuals who addressed folks on the quad, and it really was neat to go down to the quad today and just take it all in, because I did see a number of our employees, but after noting them, I counted the others who were on the quad, and there were over 50 people, not just milling about, but actually sitting in attendance and listening to a lot of the sharing that was going on with this panel. And it was great to see our faculty emeritus, Cynthia Correa, as well as our department chair of electricity and electronics technology, Professor Farouk Hashimi, as 2 members of this distinguished panel. And I thought it was a great thing, and was just an outstanding coming together of our community. A number of our WIOA partners, as well as the Lau Family Foundation, were also on hand. And it was just great to see so many come onto our campus for this great event. Great events continue for sure. March 16th, we are continuing an innovation we started in the fall, which is essentially to offer our one-stop enrollment services for our late starting classes, the bulk of which start March 21st. So I hope you come to campus between 10 and 2 o'clock down by the flagpole at Laney. You'll get personal attention, personal face-to-face attention. But if your want is to get virtual attention, that will also be available from 4 to 6 p.m. And our incredible public information officer, Lorena Baldazzo, has been posting that information on various social media outlets, including Zoom link information. So we certainly look forward to that. Well, we were also pleased, and yes, I was fortunate enough to attend the CEO Symposium, but my colleagues, Kim Blackwell, Kimberly King, and Shanice Milliken, along with 4 students, attended the A2 Men conference that you all heard about at the last board meeting. And it was great to see a lot of that sharing that went on, and look forward to hearing more about that on my campus. And certainly also want to, again, thank the many colleagues who made Black History Month at Laney College with its 9 events a great success. This coming Friday, we're going to have our strategic planning event at Laney College from 9 until 1 p.m. We'll be taking a look at our strategic goals and objectives, and really taking time, and I appreciate it as the chair of our college council, to say that as we're coming back, one thing that's important is to really engage our campus voices and hear all of them. So really want to invite the entire campus community at Laney, including students, to make some time and come see us on Friday morning. We will also have a Zoom link available for that event as well. And finally, I'll close my report tonight by welcoming our new acting IT director, Mr. Bala Sampatraj, is taken on this role after many years at the College of Alameda. And we certainly welcome him and wish him the best in his new assignment. And with that, I'll conclude my report for tonight.
All right. Good evening, President Reese, trustees, Chancellor Jackson, colleagues, and community members. I'm delighted to provide this report for the College of Alameda. As previously acknowledged, the month of March, we celebrate Women's History Month. We recognize and applaud the innumerable contributions in various fields that women have made in the service of the advancement of humanity. We salute and thank the women of our district and College of Alameda family. Our Accessible program hosted its first virtual career panel series on Thursday, February the 10th. Students heard from panelists with careers in government affairs, finance, teaching, education administration, and health insurance. Panelists included California Department of Finance Assistant Program Budget Manager Guadalupe Martinez, Optimum of California Supervisor Patient Liaison Gerardo Rojas, California Cable and Telecommunication Associate Legislative Analyst Elizabeth Bojoros, Voices Language Academy's Director of Special Program Juan Carlos Villasnoras, and All Relations Leadership Group Chief Executive Officer and Founder, Dr. Miguel Rodriguez. Presenters shared their education and career journeys, provided valuable advice, and answered questions from students in the online audience. I would like to thank our Accesso team for organizing such a wonderful event. As our student trustee mentioned, I'd like to talk about a few programs that we do at College of Alameda in support of students who deal with food insecurity. The goal of College Alameda's free produce market and emergency food grant program is to help improve student persistence and success by intentionally addressing the issue of food insecurity experienced by many of our students, particularly students of color. The free produce market provides food items to students and the community. The Alameda County Community Food Bank recently awarded our program a $1,300 capacity building grant. The Emergency Food Grant Program provides students with a one-time award of a $300 Safeway gift card. We are currently in the process of distributing more than 160 such gift cards. I would like to thank our Director of Student Activities and Campus Life, Natalie Rodriguez, for doing a great job with these student-centered programs. In the middle of February, the Dean of Counseling and Special Programs, Dr. Shalman Duke, invited faculty, classified staff, administrators, and students to participate in the Self-Care for Educators 21-Day Challenge. The challenge was designed to engage and offer self-care strategies in the context of exploring challenges of bias, racism, and privilege. The challenge provided participants the opportunity to learn, reflect, and act. Thank you, Dr. Duke, for your leadership in this area, and that ends my report for this evening.
Thank you, President Jones. Thank you, Chancellor Jackson, President Reese, trustees, colleagues, and community members. It's my pleasure to talk with you tonight about a couple of really great updates with Peralta web properties. So I'm going to share my screen here and show you the Safe Peralta website. So as you know, this is our site for emergency communications, and we've been using it throughout the pandemic. We built it during the pandemic. And when classes started in January, we were directing lots of students to the site, as we always do. And Professor Bill Trego at Laney College found some things that he thought that we could do better. And he reached out to Laney administration, who then reached out to me. I was able to meet with Professor Trego, take notes on his great recommendations. And as a result, we've introduced these buttons on the homepage now. The first button is for campus access. And that gives the user very specific instructions based on their role if they are coming to campus, if they're a student or faculty or staff member or a guest and vendor. The next button is information about vaccines and testing, which we've had on the site all throughout the pandemic. The next button was what to do if you get exposed to COVID-19. Again, we have detailed instructions based on an individual's persona as a student or an employee. And then we have the Cal OSHA table of situation and then recommendations. Finally, and I believe this came from a request from one of the trustees on making it easier to find the presentations that we've given to the community. So we've created another button for presentations in town halls that gives us a one-stop place to see where we have given a lot of information in a webinar setting about the pandemic and our response, return to campus plans. As you expand beneath the video recording of each of these town halls, you can see the questions and answers associated with that particular event. And then the last thing was a new button that we'd added for questions. And if you have a question, you can fill out this form. This triggers an email to Aaron Harbour, who is a web content developer. At the beginning of the semester, we were getting about 2 to 3 questions per day, and now it's slowed down to maybe 1 or 2 a week. So it seems to be working very well. So those are the updates with Safe Peralta, safe.peralta.edu. Now I'm going to shift gears, and I'm so excited about this next part because we're talking about the Peralta website, the main website. This is a screenshot from the Wayback Machine from 10 years ago on March 7th, I believe it was March 5th or 6th, 2012. This is what the website looked like. And if I click on what the website looks like today on web.peralta, you can see the site hasn't changed at all. It's got the same 3-column design. I am absolutely thrilled to show you our new Peralta website. So if you go to peralta.edu or www.peralta.edu, the user is taken to our brand new website. It's hosted on the HubSpot content management system. I spoke to you all back in January 25th, and I said we were going to launch this in February. We adjusted the dates from February 15th to February 22nd. We wanted to make sure that redistricting information, I had some ads running for redistricting, so we wanted to make sure that people could find that important information. And as soon as that was approved, we launched the following day. We had some challenges updating the DNS. In my gratitude to Chi Out and Antoine Mehile from the Peralta IT department for working with us to update the DNS settings. The new site is a nice responsive design as opposed to the old site. And that means that as one adjusts the screen size, whether they're using their phone or a tablet or a Mac, a laptop or a desktop computer, the site responds appropriately for that site. Our old website had very, very serious accessibility challenges. The new site we're working through with a tool from the State Chancellor's Office called called Pope Tech. And we are making sure that those accessibility problems are resolved. We are not completely done with that. There are still a few problems, but nothing as serious as what we had on the present website. So I'm very excited about the new accessibility of the website. If I take you through to some of the most frequently used pages within the website, here's our information to apply and enroll. It has a very nice, clean design that gets people straight to the CCC Apply site for their college or into Campus Solutions. And here's another example for non-credit instruction. You'll notice the menu is contextual on the right-hand side as I change from department to department. For employees, here's our new human resources page, which is a very nice design and layout with different buttons for the different types of resources that employees might want to have. I really, really, really want to thank Aaron Harbour and John Freeman, our web content developers. Aaron has been working on this project for 1.5 years and has done a really amazing work. I also want to thank Marcus Creel, who is the graphic designer at the district. This site was designed in-house in collaboration with faculty, staff, and students. We met with students from all 4 campuses. Marcus took their input and came up with that really beautiful site design. Let's see, the next steps after accessibility is translations. So we know that translated content is very important, and we'll be working with my colleagues in the district to come up with translated content in Spanish, Chinese, Tagalog to start with, and then other languages on down the list of resources. So right now we're focusing on the content that we know that's really most used by students for the translations, and we hope to be able to have that translated content up within a few months. And that concludes my brief presentation about our new website updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and thanks to the presidents and Vice President of Instruction. Hey, appreciate all of your comments, and happy Women's History Month and History Day to everyone. And I'll turn it back over to our Vice President of the board, Diana Delphine Polk, or I'm not sure if the president is online still or.
Almost there.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So I'll turn it back over to the Vice President. Thank you all.
Great. Thank you very much. Let's move on to presentations 4.5.